They didn't teach any of that in school. I just got to lean on my History Channel and my YouTube documentaries. I know more about Warhammer lore than I do Bangladesh.
Let's see what Grok Fast says about Bangladesh religion's percentage. They should call it Grok Slow.
You don't use
Okay,
ChatGPT?
no, because I just have this 91% Islam. So there you go on Bangladesh.
Yeah, that'll do it to you. I bet. I bet there. Some Christian communities. I know. Was there incest in the Mormon faith? I know there was that polygamy and lots of like maybe wife sharing or maybe swapping even. Like not in the way where like you swap for the night, but like their Pokemon cards. Like
Yeah.
like, I got 2 Charizards and you got 2 Squirtles. Let's make a little something happen here.
I think they they were all in on polygamy, but I think they were incest averse. The Mormons.
That's good. That almost makes it seem
They weren't
acceptable.
all down with that. They're exploding. There's more Mormons every year.
We got into this talk
And
the
the
other day
Mormons and
about
the
whether
Amish,
the
they're
Mormons are
exploding.
Christians or not. And my point was this. The Mormons believe that Christ rose from the dead, and then instead of ascending to heaven, as I was taught at the Church of God, which was the denomination that I went to,
Mhm.
that he came to America, North America, specifically the Midwest, I believe, and
Missouri.
hung out with some Indians, Native American Indians, Aboriginal types that were actually the descendants of Israelites, and they impressed their faith upon them. I believe that that's at the core of their religion. And it's not like one of those like black people being the devil thing that they're like, oh yeah, we don't talk about it anymore. I think it's like the central thing to their religion is that Christ came over here and had a second testament.
Third testament, right? So
Yeah, because he rose and did the third, 3.0.
well, the Old Testament, the New Testament. Yeah, I mean, like Mormonism, and I don't have the requisite knowledge on it, but it's always felt to me like you know how Gladiator 2 had nothing to do with Gladiator 1?
Yeah.
And like it's a different director, the actors are different, and it's
Same
like
director.
this is like picture a different sequel then, because I didn't know that. Like it's like this is weird.
3's coming.
Like why add to this? And also like it is funny to be like, yeah, and then the New Testament kind of got wrapped up a decade or two after Christ's death, and then God took a pause for 1830 years, and then he gave it to this guy.
Yeah, so
It's like,
the story
okay, well
there
then is there something essential that he gave this guy? It's like, no, just kind of like just kind of addendums.
Yeah, for those that don't know, it was a huckster by the name of Joseph Smith who claimed that he had found the golden tablets, that he had been told where to dig them up and find them by the angel of the Lord Moroni, right?
Mhm.
The angel of the Lord Moroni had told him where to go and dig and find the golden tablets that were the next books of the Bible. He went, dug those tablets up. He told his buddy, "Holy shit, I found these golden tablets." He's like, "Can I see them?" He's like, "No, but I will read them out of this magical hat that I stick my head in, and you will write down what I've written." And
Fair.
so they did that. And night after night, he's sticking his head in this hat. He's reading these magical golden tablets. He's telling his buddy what to write down. And his buddy's wife is like, "The fuck are you doing with that con man?" And he's like, "We've got a new book of the Bible work cooking over here." And she's like, "All right, tell you what, is this tonight's writings? Tell him you lost them. Tell him you lost all the work from last night, and then he should be able to go right back to his golden tablet, and he should have the exact same stuff that you can write down tonight." And he's like, "Pfft, nailed it." So they do that, and he says, "You've lost the word of God." He's mad, and actually, he's going to punish us, and that book of the Bible will be forever lost to man because God is spiteful and petty like that.
Quick on his feet, dude. Can you imagine looking at nothing through a hat and riffing an entire book
Hours
of the
at a time.
Bible hours at a time? I mean, the man had the gift of gab at the
He
very
clearly
least.
did. He convinced that other fellow, and then they went on and convinced all those other people.
What's he saying
But
here? That I get to? No, I don't get. I have to squeeze your wife's tits.
they murdered a ton of They murdered those people who were immigrating west through their territory. They basically carved out their own version of the Confederacy in the Midwest and were like, "This is a Mormon nation, separate unto the United States of America. You stay out." And they were massacring white settlers and blaming it on Native Americans. They were
Yeah,
straight up riding into, like, wagon trains of white people immigrating west, trying to get to California or whatever, do the Oregon Trail bullshit, and they would put on masks and dress up as Indians. This is the Mormon church, right? The head of the Mormon church leading. They would massacre these people and scalp them and desecrate their bodies and then blame it on Indians who were maybe complicit, maybe not, but in any case, they were the ones who got massacred in return eventually. Like, so I just don't count them as Christians, you
I
know?
mean, they were total bullies, and they did exactly what you said, where
Total
they
bull.
they were you were talking about they, like, set up a little segmented area, and they, like, fucked with people and tried to trick them into thinking it was other people responsible, and that's why they are in Utah, because they tried that shit in Missouri, and a bunch of Missouri people were like, "You guys are fucking lunatics, you know, Jesus died thousands of years ago. There's no way he popped up to talk to this goober in the last, 16 months. Like, no,
Yeah.
stop it, get out of here." And then they were causing problems, burning farms, good Missouri owned farms.
And then I
Mm.
always say about the Catholics too. I know technically the Catholics are Christian, but when
Oh,
I look at the
geez. Yeah,
Catholic religion, it's like I thought this was a monotheistic religion that we had here with one God. I get that there's the embodiment of Christ and the spirit of the Lord. I can understand that that is just one God working in different ways through the perception of man. If I really want to lean into this thing, I get that.
sure.
But they got all these saints, they got all these medallions, they got all this iconography, they've got all these weird rituals. They've got these urns of incense. They're flicking holy water on people. They're I'm fine with the what do you call it when you take the body of Christ and you drink the
Communion.
communion. Communion makes sense to me. That goes right back to Christ himself.
Yeah.
Like he performs the first communion. Like, I get that too. That is Christian to me. Christ followings are Christian to me. You could even leave the Old Testament out to some extent if I want to really boil down what a Christian is to me. But when I see like all those little voodoo dolls of saints and stuff, and they're burning candles to this person and that person, the Virgin Mary, what the fuck does the Virgin Mary have to do with anything? Like she wasn't holy. She was a carpenter's wife who was a breeding vessel
That's,
to make Jesus. Why is she anything? Why would her tears cure fuck all?
that is a big, point of contention between, like, Catholicism and, say, I'm probably talking
Protestantism?
out of turn. Protestantism, at least, but I was gonna say, like, Lutheranism, which, like, if you know about Lutheranism, it's like Catholic light, like, where there's still, like, much more pomp and
Ceremonial?
circumstance and ceremonial and serious than, like, say, an Episcopalian or something. But I know a big point of contention there is that a lot of Catholics, not all of them, and a lot of Orthodox, but again, not all, think that Mary was sinless and that she was, the only person, not God, that was without sin. And to me, like, I don't have the requisite knowledge or epistemology to speak on it in an educated way, but it's like, well, I kind of think, Christ was the only one without sin. Like, that's why his sacrifice was so important, is that he was tempted as all men are, but he never sinned. And if you add another sinless person,
You know what a
it's
fun part of
like,
the Bible is
I
to
don't
me? And
know.
I think it's my favorite part maybe. It's when the devil is tempting Christ and the
Hmm.
devil says
In
something
the
to
desert.
Christ. Yeah, yeah. And he's like he's showing Christ the future of man and like the wars of man in the far future. And he's saying I think he offered Christ power to be like the ruler of the planet or something and avoid the
Yeah.
future wars of man, and Christ denies him. And that's another one of those things where it's like,
3 times, if I recall.
Christ said, "No, thank you," not, "You don't have that power." Like, to
Hmm.
me, that's another one of those, it's like, if you look at it objectively, it's like, so is Jesus co-signing that the devil does have the ability to make him the king of the world right now with the snap of his fingers? Because it seems that way. It's the same thing I always talk about when they'll have like Moses had like a wizard's duel with the Pharaoh's magicians, and the Bible doesn't say, And the Pharaoh's magicians had nothing but pomp and children's tricks,
Mhm.
hidden sleight of hand and like snake blood in a canister. They're like, and the Pharaoh's gods weren't quite as strong as ours, and the pantheon of gods, ours is the strongest. And it's like, what? Just sounds like some Super Friends shit. Like you just told me Superman like beat up Captain America, but you're still
The
co-signing that
trash.
Captain America has a super serum.
I think, and again, I could be wrong, but my understanding is that those Egyptian gods, like the Christian view, is that they were worshiping demons, and demons do have power on Earth. Like they're not make believe. Like they worshipped demons, and Moses was worshiping God, and so his magic obviously defeats the demon magic.
I wonder
But
if they
it
could
was
have evolved.
it wasn't a belief among Christians that like, oh yeah, Ra and Isis and Set, these are real gods. It was like, no, these people have been fooled, and they are worshiping ghastly demons with like animal heads, and sacrificing people and whatnot. It's very interesting. Religion is so fascinating. You're clearly interested too.
Yeah, but I also like the Roman pantheons of gods and stuff too.
That's fun too. Yeah.
I wish that the Bible didn't fall apart upon like deeper review. I wish that when you look, you were like, oh my god, this is all adding up. This is all making sense. I can't think of a way this isn't real, but it's always like those inconsistencies like that.
The New
That
Testament is great. Much more
because
uplifting,
presumably
much happier. The Old Testament is
like
pretty
what
dark.
happened where the like it's almost like what fantasy series is it? Oh, in Lord of the Rings, the magic is leaving the world. You know, at the time of
Mhm.
the battle for the ring, the elves are leaving, like magic is leaving the world. It's almost like people stopped believing, and so the magic is leaving. I've seen that in other fantasy universes where
There's a
maybe in
Christmas special
Merlin.
about that, but once they all believe hard enough, the sleigh flies.
Yes, and like the and 40K is like that. Like
Salient point.
it if you don't know about the
Trying to
gods, then they
contribute to
can't
the
be
religious
empowered.
conversation, all right?
When you're right, you're right. That's basically what I'm saying.
So like I wish that there was a bit in the Bible about that. It's like, and it was the age of magic's end, because the God's New Testament with man, and Moses was given dominion over the earth and all that remained, and magic was ended, and the Nephilim were drowned, and I wish they said something like
They
that.
kind
But
of did, right? I
yeah,
don't
but in the
remember
New
the
Testament,
verse and section, but it was like
yeah, but then
like
Christ is walking
Jesus
around water
was
into
the
wine and
oh
fucking
no,
raising Lazarus from the
I
dead,
mean,
and like
obviously Jesus was doing miracles. He's the son of God, but I'm saying like in the New Testament, I think, might be wrong.
he
There's
called
a
down
section
bears
about like
to eat those children.
that was Elijah, and that's the Old Testament. But I think there was a section saying
Bears,
like,
Woody, to
and
eat children.
there will be no more
Bears eat children. This checks out.
prophets.
What's the problem,
Like
Kyle?
the prophet time is over. And
They
that
made fun of
was
his bald
I
head.
I thought that was a little much. I think those kids making fun of his bald head, they must have been mean. It must have been it wasn't a
You
one-off
might be
comment.
victim blaming.
They might